most native Hawaiians would consider themselves to be Polynesian, but the name Polynesian is actually a huge name that encompasses people from many different countries, languages, and cultures. Hi, this is Anita from the Dusty Roads podcast. Anyone who's been to Hawaii usually falls in love with it. And that's because Hawaii is a truly magical place. It just feels so different from the rest of the United States. And a lot of people ask the question, what's the difference between Hawaiians and Polynesians or Hawaiians and Samoans? And there really is a difference between especially Hawaiians and Samoans. But let's first talk about Native Hawaiians and Polynesians. Native Hawaiians are Polynesian. So really, when you talk about Polynesians, you need to also put Hawaiians as part of being Hawaii as Polynesians. But one of the differences is that most Hawaiians or Native Hawaiians will consider themselves to be American. Because they are a state of the United States. So today, most Hawaiians will tell you they are American. Most of the Hawaiians have also lost their language. There's very few Hawaiians that actually speak the Hawaiian language. I found this is quite fascinating because I saw online that there's something like maybe only 1,000 people or something actually still speak Hawaiian. It's really a very small number. That most of the Hawaiians have so integrated now into being part of the United States that they have lost their language. Where a lot of the Polynesians or the other countries like the Samoans or that would consider themselves to be Polynesia or the Tongans still speak their native language. Hawaii is no longer just about the Hawaiians or the native Hawaiians. It actually is a place which is mixed with many different countries and cultures. In fact, there are Chinese, there are Filipinos, there are Japanese who have lived in Hawaii for hundreds of years, who consider themselves to be native Hawaiians, but they are actually of Japanese, Chinese, or other descent. So Hawaii's always sort of been this melting pot with many different types of cultures and countries coming together. Each part of Polynesia is different. We can forget that even though Hawaiians are considered Polynesian, that not all Polynesians are considered Hawaiians. So, Polynesia really covers a vast area of the world and covers all these different types of Polynesian islands. So I would say that most Native Hawaiians would consider themselves to be Polynesian, but the name Polynesian is actually a huge name that encompasses people from many different countries, languages, and cultures. If you ever get a chance to go to Hawaii, make a trip to Laie, Hawaii, and visit the Polynesian Cultural Center. I cannot think of any other place that can teach you about Polynesia, Hawaii, and all the different islands in one place as the Polynesian Cultural Center can. It's wonderful to walk through the Polynesian Cultural Center, and you can go through all the different villages and see the different types of houses. And it really brings home to you that the fact that even though the Polynesians have a lot of similarities, there's also differences in their native dress, in their dances, in their songs, in their culture, that each one is unique. And that really, even though they're one group of people, there's a lot of uniqueness going on among the Polynesians themselves. And that's why when you talk about Polynesians, you can't really just say that they're just like one group of people, because there's so many different groups of people within Polynesia itself. And this also goes too for when people ask and want to know, are the Samoans the same as the Hawaiians? And no, they are not. They are not the same thing at all. It's quite interesting because today, two parts of Samoa that I think most Americans don't know. That there is a Samoa, which is called the Independent State of Samoa. It used to be called Western Samoa. When I went to school years ago at Brigham Young University in Laie, Hawaii, I had some roommates and friends that were Samoan, and they always said Western Samoa. But then there was another Samoa, which is called American Samoa. And yes, it is part of the United States. Most Americans don't realize that. We have this little island, this little part of Samoa way out there in the South Pacific Ocean. It's not a state of the United States, but it's a territory. And it also happens to be the number one recruiting station for the U.S. military. The U.S. military post, or the office there in Samoa, recruits more U.S. military personnel per population in American Samoa than in any other recruiting station in the United States. It's a territory, but unlike other territories, U.S. citizen is not granted at birth. And people that are born in American Samoa are considered non-citizen nationals. The population of American Samoa is actually quite small. It's only 46,000 people. So, that's kind of like the size of the suburb of a major city in the United States. And you think about that whole thing is a country. So it's only 46,000 people, and the official language is English and Samoan. So the people that are from American Samoa will speak Samoan, unlike their counterparts in Hawaii, which generally do not speak Hawaiian. The other part of Samoa, which is known as the independent state of Samoa, has over 200,000 people, and their official language is also Samoan and English. American Samoa and the independent state of Samoa are more similar to each other than probably Hawaii and Samoans are. They share the same language, they share the same culture, and they're in the same archipelago of islands. So actually the two Samoans are very similar, even though there are two separate Samoans. And the Samoans themselves would consider themselves to be all one Samoan, but when you meet somebody from Samoa, they might say, oh, I'm from Samoa, or I'm from American Samoa. But they really see themselves, what I've seen from my Samoan friends at least, is they see themselves as Samoan. And unlike many of the native Hawaiians, most of the Samoans can speak the Samoan language. They grew up speaking Samoan, and they grew up speaking English. Even when you look at their culture, and if you do get the chance to go to the Polynesian Cultural Center, you'll be able to really see the difference in culture. When I was at Brigham Young University in Hawaii, one of the classes I took for the semester I was there was a Polynesian dance class. And I have to say the Samoan dance was one of my favorite dances because Samoans do what is known as a slap dance, or kind of like a rhythm dance, where they actually, slap their hands and, hit parts of their body. And it's a dance which is all into the beat and movement. Whereas the Hawaiian dances is more the luau, more like, we think about the very sort of soft luau. So even their dances is very different. And if you go to the Polynesian Cultural Center, you'll see their houses is different. Their language is different. Their costumes are different. The Samoans and the Hawaiians are actually very different. The music is different. The two countries and the two cultures are actually very different. And that is true very much from American Samoa and even the United States of the Hawaiian. And that is even true of Hawaii, which is part of the United States. One of the great things that you can do if you are a Hawaii fan like I am, is you can actually travel Hawaii through a Conquer Virtual Challenge. And I am on my podcast before, I've talked about the Conquer Virtual Challenge. I've talked about how much I like them and how much I've enjoyed them. And you can actually, virtually travel Hawaii with the Road to Hana, which is in Maui. And I've actually personally done this challenge. It's a fun challenge to do. It's a great way to get a feel for Hawaii and to learn more about the Hawaiian culture. What you do is each time you might, walk, bike, swim, run, do a form of exercise, you can put the miles into their app and you will virtually travel through the Road to Hana or virtually travel through Hawaii. It's a great way to be able to get a feel for the islands and to see the islands and to be part of the islands. And if you don't want to do Hawaii, they have another Polynesian island, which is Easter Island. And a friend and I happen to be doing that one, and we're swimming around Easter Island. So we're just decided we're just going to put in our swimming amount. Every time we swim, we put in our miles there. And so, you can decide however you want to do it, but it's a great way to be able to see parts of the world if you're not able to travel right now. A bus on a dusty road is all about living our life as a global citizen. And the Dusty Road podcast, which is part of A Bus on a Dusty Road, is all about living our life as a global citizen. And living our life as a global citizen is really a lot about just being interested in the world and wanting to learn new things, whether Hawaiians or Polynesians, or whether Hawaiians and Samoans are the same people, of the same culture, and to be able to learn and understand the difference. We love the world. We love being a global citizen, and we hope that you will join with us to continue to go on the dusty roads of life and to learn about the world as you live your life as a global citizen. Thank you so much to our production crew, to Rico, for helping with this podcast. Thank you, all of you, for listening. We really do appreciate you. We know without you, this would not be possible. Thank you again.